So for some countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Trinidad and Tobago, as well as New Zealand, Boxing Day is simply a day for shopping, a shopping holiday. But many have also maintained this long stance that that day, that's today, December 26th, is special for everyone who, has received gifts during Christmas, giving them the opportunity to unveil their gifts. Maybe that explains why some countries, of course, declare it as a public holiday, of course, with different reasons for the celebration. What is the universally accepted origin of Boxing Day? What exactly is the significance of today, known as Boxing Day? Hello and welcome to the program Nigeria Today. My name is Claire Dilabo Abdul Razak. I wish you all Merry Christmas from wherever you are watching. And you watching Nigeria Today, as I said. In a moment, I'll be introducing my guest. All right, let me quickly introduce my two personalities to discuss the significance of Boxing Day. I have Pastor Kunle Paul Shoyele, who is the senior pastor, Exousia. I hope that I got that correct. Exousia Church of God, Mabuchi here in Abuja. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
And also with us is the Special Assistant to the Director General, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You see, I stumbled to describe what today means or represents for so many people, and I'm wondering why a day that comes after a day that is supposed to be a very special day in Christendom, be tagged as a Boxing Day. Let me start with the senior pastor. Is it scriptural?
Oh yes. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to come share with Nigeria and the world at large. Now, the Boxing Day is not the boxing in the sense of beating up people, but rather the boxing in the sense of giving gifts unto men. You're talking about the St. Stephen's Day, which is the initial name before it was taken or transformed into the word Boxing Day. Stephen, as one of the apostles, died a very, very unpleasant death. In the book of Acts chapter 7, the Bible records from verse 55 all the way to 60 of how he died. He was a man that gave his life for the people. He was actually stoned to death. But one prayer he was saying to God was, look, God, don't take this against these people. In other words, I'm giving my life for their sake. So that depletes a level of love. So the boxing out of it is actually taken from the word giving of gifts, which comes in boxes most times. From your introduction, you talked about it that in England it started with people having boxes given. Now it was believed that the masters in court or the superiors would give gifts to their subordinates on a day like this so that they can have time to be with their own family too. And in those boxes you have gift items, sometimes even money, sometimes valuable things. Also the church then in England also set aside a day like the Christmas Day. They put up a box where people can make contributions for those who are less privileged or the needy, so that they'll be able to at least have a little bit of what it takes to have a good life outside their normal routine of work. So the Boxing Day is actually not the boxing as in having to fight someone, but actually an exchange of gift, which is actually what love stands for.
Pastor Kunle, I get the understanding of the gift, exchange of gifts, and of course the origin. We know that the gift giving, was adopted from a Roman, festival of Saturnalia and Calends.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then of course inspired in Christendom by the three wise men and all that. But I don't know, in countries where Boxing Day, December 26th, is regarded as St. Stephen's Day, what is the nexus, Mr. Koji?
Yes, in line with exactly what Pastor had said, there are various traditions around Boxing Day. And there are also various arguments around its origin. There are those, for instance, who say that Boxing Day originated in the medieval times, somewhere in Britain, you know, and that wealthy Britons at that time had slaves, you know, and that on the 25th of December, which is Christmas Day, these slaves get no holiday because they need to be around to serve the guests that will come to the master. And so, because of that, and the realization also by the masters that the servants also deserved their time with their families, then they would give them on the 26th, which is the day after Christmas, and then send them off with gifts in boxes, which they in turn will take back to their families and give to their families and have a nice time, you know, with their families.
And then they keep the boxes to be opened on the 26th.
Yes. So that's one perspective, you know, to the issue of Boxing Day. But I think critically, for us, the way we look at it as an orientation agency is that Boxing Day is an exclamation point on the events of the 25th. That's Christmas Day. What happened on the 25th? From the Christian perspective, a Savior was born.
Yeah.
And this Savior was born for a purpose, to sacrifice his life as an atonement for the sins of people who did not deserve such grace, you know. So the exclamation point is this: that 25th signifies grace. It signifies a gift from the heart, irrespective of the challenges around, you know, that ordinarily from a human perspective should warrant the withholding of that gift. But it was given in any way. And it was given to deliver man from the burden of sin. So, on the 26th, in this country, that culture is fast fading off. We're supposed to give gifts, especially to those who cannot pay us back, to those whom we think do not deserve it, to the helpless. And that's the tradition he talked about in the church, where they set up boxes.
I want us to, you know, get the clarification. On one hand, it could be religious. Yes, and on the other hand, it's just a tradition of, you know, giving gifts and, you know, opening of gift boxes. Is that what it is?
Well,
or it's basically scriptural?
Now, it is actually scriptural in the sense that love is what God stands for. Both the art of the masters or the superiors who give gifts to those who are under them as slaves or servants who serve them is also a show of love. From the church angle, that boxes are created as what we call today welfare boxes in churches, giving of alms to the less privileged and the needy, because the Bible makes us understand that as long as we live, the needy will not cease to be in our midst. Meaning not everybody will have equal status at every point in time. So there will be someone who needs a degree of help and assistance. So we have created that as a platform to meet the need of people around us. And all this is driven by love, because it takes love to sacrifice. God giving us Jesus, talking about the birth of Jesus at Christmas, we believe that that was the biggest gift of God that he could ever made available to mankind, according to the scriptures. The Bible said in John 3:16, it said, God so loved the world. So what propelled God in bringing Jesus was what? Love.
Okay.
And when Jesus also came to us, Jesus also gave us something. He gave us his own life.
You link it with the birth of Jesus Christ. Do I get the feeling that, I mean, it's only synonymous, you know, with the Christian or Christian faith, Mr. Koji?
Well, the history of Boxing Day is rooted in Christendom. However, the significance of it, I think, is for all of mankind.
That's right.
It's for all of mankind.
Absolutely, very correct.
I once sat with a very, very influential and significant Nigerian, a musician of great repute, Bongos Ikwe.
Okay, the band.
Yes, I sat with him once, and the man said at a meeting, and the man said something that I found quite touching. Pastor will not agree with his position for sure.
You want to share?
But I will share it.
Yes.
The man says there are only two religions in this world. Good people and bad people.
And the bad people.
That's what it is for Bongozikwe. Good people and bad people. And that's what he tried to communicate in that song he sang about Mustafa and the rest of them three. Mustafa, I think Emeka or something like that. And, you know, creating the impression that at the bottom line of it, you have good people, and they exist in every tribe, every religion, every setting, and you have bad people. They also exist, you know, anywhere you find them.
So Boxing Day, though it has a Christian, you know, origin, it's supposed to be a general celebration. It's a celebration, you know, that covers everybody.
Everybody.
Yes. In practice, what happens on the 26th is Christians distribute the food they have cooked, the drinks they have bought, the chop one, chop two that they have fried in their houses.
You know why I asked? Because I know that in Islam as well,
yes,
the gift given is also fundamental.
It's a doctrine that must
it's
be
a doctrine. It's very fundamental.
Absolutely.
And at this period in time, you discover that it's not just the Christians, you know, and some of our reports, you know, point to that fact that everybody just goes out on Boxing Day, you know, to share. I mean,
what you have.
Yes,
now,
share good.
Very, very, very correct. You know, looking at it from the natural law school of thought, that God has a heart for all and believes that all man is equal and every man should be treated as one, being equal. And one of the ways by which you can show this is to show respect and love to all. In fact, the Bible said there, it said in honor, preferring one to another in the book of Romans chapter 10. So it means I should even respect you more than I do to myself. I should create an enabling environment for you and seek your good. Jesus was speaking, he said, love your neighbor even as yourself. Now, if you look at all these things put together, you understand that mankind is created, man is created to love. And that's why it takes this love to be able to stay together. The biggest of all the commandments is love. When Jesus was going to summarize, he said, this is the summary of all the commandments, that you love one another. Now, he said even God himself is love. He said, whoever does not love is not of God, according to John, 1 John chapter 4. Now, and he now gave a commandment in 1 John 3:16. He said, by this we know love, because he laid down his life for us. And we also ought to do the same for our brethren. Now, that's the instruction for everyone. How do you show love to others? By giving out of what you have unto them. So the Boxing Day is not just about the Christmas leftover being given or shared. It's about coming out of a season of celebration of great importance, significance to you. You look around you and look at somebody close to you. Why can't you just show some love? Extend that love to someone. And oftentimes we believe that gifts comes in boxes. You have your
Pastor
perfume.
Shirley, I will pause you here because you've started evaluating how Nigerians generally, you know, spend Boxing Day or observe Boxing Day, which is what I would like to begin with when we come back from our short break. You're watching Nigeria Today, and we are looking at the real essence of today. That's Boxing Day, December the 26th. We'll be right back.
This is NTA News 24, broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times, Channel 101, Freak TV, Channel 703, GSTV, Channel 419, and Go TV, Channel 46.
For more information, log on to our website, www.nta.ng, or join us on our social media handles, Twitter at NTA News 24, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24.
News and more news.
Welcome back to Nigeria Today, and we're still examining the real essence of Boxing Day. And Pastor Kunle Paul Shele, Senior Pastor, Exousia Church of God, Mabushi here in Abuja, is still here with us, as well as the Special Assistant to the Director General, National Orientation Agency, David Akoje. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We started evaluating how we should or how we do observe Boxing Day in Nigeria, and you were talking about the way the quality and content of the gifts that we do give. In evaluating our behavior during Boxing Day, what should be the most fun thing about today? Let me kick off with Mr. Koji.
Well, unfortunately, I would not know whether it's because of the economic hardship that we are going through at this particular point in time. We have witnessed more robust observance of Boxing Days in times past than we see today.
How do you mean?
Well, robust in terms of the fact that you would actually see people giving gifts, you know, boxed gifts. You would see people going out, visiting orphanages, visiting widows, you know, visiting their neighbors who are less privileged with gifts and so on. So I would not know whether it's the level of modernization or it's the economic realities on ground.
Or the orientation.
But we seem not to see much,
Yes,
you know, of this today. What I think is we should revive it. We should revive that spirit of giving selflessly.
that's why I said, is it the orientation? Because it falls, you know, at your doorstep. Yes, Pastor.
You know, I might want to say what at this point that, our brother said that it could be probably the economic state or situation in the country. But you know one thing, in the subject of giving, you can only give from what you have. You know, I would still take us back to the scripture. Jesus was talking about giving in the sanctuary, and the Bible said at the point he stood by the basket where people dropped their offerings and sacrifices, and he said everybody came and he gave, and there was a particular woman, a widow, who had nothing much, and when he was doing it, he said this widow gave the most because she gave out of what she had. Now, what am I trying to say here? You really don't need the whole world to give a good gift. You only need a heart of giving to give. A cup of water. Jesus was talking in Matthew chapter 25 to people. He said, look, I was sick, you didn't visit me. I was in prison, you didn't check me. I was hungry. They said, when did we do that? We didn't see you, Jesus, Master. We didn't see you coming in this way. He said, anything you do to anybody on the street, you've done it to me.
Is the body of Christ doing this? And I ask this question, Pastor, specifically because we've seen a number of people in need who belong to a particular body of Christ and still are not, you know, part of the body. I don't know if you understand. So is the body of Christ really reaching out to those in need?
Well, I want to say, to an extent I can tell. For instance, our own denomination, our church, from time to time, we have a provision for the need of those, not only one in the church, but we go out. For instance, we had an anniversary event a while ago, and we are calling people from different parts that we don't even know.
On a day like this, what do you do?
And yesterday, for instance, at the service, we brought gifts for everyone in the church. I say, everybody, give out gifts. Give to someone. You don't even need to know the person. So prepare the gift. You bring it prepared so well, as if you're the one that's going to go with it, and give it out to people. And you see people, everybody left the place smiling, happy. So nobody will say, I was in church and I went back home, didn't have anything to do.
And in Mr. Koji, is this type of orientation, is it encouraged? What about those who cannot afford, who belong to, you know, a particular church and cannot afford even to buy a small gift? What do they do?
I think the thing of significance is to note that the gift is actually the physical representation
Of your passion.
of your passion.
That's true.
What is of significant and important to note is the need for love. If you give without love, it's meaningless.
That's right.
You understand? So if we start from that point of loving our neighbors, irrespective of what religion or what tribe or what ideological persuasion they come from, if we have that fundamental of love, then we would have a great country. And then where there's love, it then becomes not too difficult to give.
You know, given is wrapped in love and peace, which is a constant, thing that Nigerians have been, even the clergy have been calling for. I don't know how the national orientation, even as we observe Boxing Day, what you're doing to, encourage the people, to learn to give, to learn to share. Yes, to learn to develop the culture of giving.
I'll tell you something well done. Shortly before the Christmas, the Director General of National Orientation Agency, Dr. Garba Bari, held a press conference. And at that press conference, he stressed the need for love, the need for peace, irrespective of our differences and our national fault lines. Now, he went beyond that and wrote letters to all churches and all mosques, pleading with churches and mosques.
Did you receive a copy?
Well,
did your church receive a copy?
Not yet. Probably it will come after.
Probably will get it because we sent those letters out through Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. That's the easiest way to reach a large number of churches, and we did same for the mosques. And the idea was to encourage people to take advantage of this season and reawaken their love for fellow Nigerians, their love for Nigeria as a country.
This
and
letter,
their commitment.
This letter you talk about, what is the content of the letter, and what is the message of the letter, and to whom? Is it just to the leadership of the religious bodies, or is it to the people?
No, it's to
because
the
beyond the letter, you also need to do some kind of enlightenment.
Yes.
Public, going maybe out there in the not just the churches or the mosques, but also to the marketplaces.
Our expectation was that these letters will be read publicly in the churches on Christmas Day and at the mosques on Friday. Because of the significance of this period, it then provides fertile ground to carry the message of love and peace. How
much do you think Nigerians really know the essence of Boxing Day, Pastor?
I think the awareness level is coming strong now. Gone are the days where we're much younger, we'll say, Boxing Day, are we going to go around to box each other? But not everybody understands that. It's about giving of gifts, showing of love. The only thing is the awareness level, we cannot say to what percentage it is. But from what our brother just said now, it means even the government is also making an effort to do that. But I want to say one thing, that it's not only about even getting people to do. I think the best way to get people to do is to do.
Beyond letters, in 60 seconds,
yes.
How can we inculcate the value? Quickly, Mr. Koji.
We need to keep talking about it. Sensitization is about repeated messaging. Usually, if you put out the message once, you don't expect that you would get a large response.
Right.
So we need to sustain it beyond today, and we will do that at the National Orientation Agency.
All right, Special Assistant to the Director General, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji, and of course, Pastor Kunle Paul Sheyele, Senior Pastor, Exosia Church of God, Mabuchi, Abuja. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to give meaning to Boxing Day, and we also thank you very much for always joining us on Nigeria Today. The program airs every Wednesday at 7:30 in the evening. You can also catch this and other episodes on our address, www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Claire Delabo Abdul Razak. From me and the production crew, Merry Christmas and do have a prosperous New Year. Bye-bye.
My name's Mr. Muftau Abiodun Balogun. We started this business 4 years ago, and this is the production outlet where we do about 4,000 to 5,000 birds per day. With the closure of the border recently, we've been experiencing massive surge in demand. Our sales per day now is going to between 15 to 20,000 birds. We needed to expand all avenues because of the multiplier effect it's creating. And the most interesting thing about this closure is that many of my farmers today are farmers we recruited recently, and they are young graduates. What the government is doing will lead us right. And I can tell you, if the government sustains this thing, sky will not even be our limit.
The African way of life is a series of art expression. Africans display the African artistry mostly in outlook, unique and sometimes intriguing in attires and ornaments. In most African cultures, beads are used. Different beads have tribal identification and significance. However, beads have evolved over time to transcend cultures. Some designs are contemporary and universal, but the local touch in others distinguish them. Husseini Yauba is a craftsman, a friend of nature. He creates beautiful pieces from things we consider ordinary.
So this is metals, and here in the middle is stone. This is made of stone. He said this is made of sand. Some are gotten from the river side, some are gotten from other places, but mostly from the river side, and they are being gathered and put in a machine that grinds them. Then whichever color you want, you mix it to it.
Eunice Ago makes beads from nature's provisions. She also collects antique beads for sale.
These ones are made from bamboo. You take the bamboo, you recycle it, or you treat it in the hot ash, you put it inside it, and it changes it from the normal bamboo color to this color. This is very old. It's been there, it's over 60, 70 years. They're made of stones.
What kinds of stones?
Some are made from bauxite. Others are made from ordinary stone. They tell you when there is rainbow, when there is that rain and this rainbow, some fall. That's what the elders tell us. They fall and they pick them.
Like the painter or sculptor, the African bead maker uses his or her works to express personality and thoughts.
Sankofa means go back to fetch your culture.
Go back to fetch your
culture. Yes, it's a bird. Yeah, so Sankofa, that's why it is turning back. The bird is turning, looking backwards. Means the culture that we have left, we have gone to pick it.
Plants, bones, horns, stones, bamboo, and even sands. To the beads craftsman, everything is useful.
My name is Balaunti. I'm the Managing Director of Petroleum Product Marketing Company, a subsidiary of NNPC. There are significant price discrepancy between Nigeria and its neighbors across Africa. There's a discrepancy of between 150 to 250 naira. That creates an incentive for arbitrage, whereby smuggling triumphed by taking petroleum product across the neighbors so that they can be sold at higher price. While the smugglers are making the money, Nigeria is paying for it. And that payment is distorting everything that we do in terms of planning, in terms of our ability to fund, and thereby taking money that is meant for development. The introduction of this Operation White will have a reduction of close to 6 million liters on daily basis, which if you take an average of 150, translate to a saving of over 1 billion naira every day. That is the benefit of Operation White, and we have started seeing the great benefit.
A very good morning and thanks for joining us on the News at 10 on the network service of the NTA. I am Muslima Sholebo.
And I am Elizabeth Omori. Good to have you join us on the news at this hour. Now let's take the headlines.
Terrorist attack. President Buhari assures government and people of Burkina Faso of Nigeria's support.
Nigerians applaud federal government's efforts in ensuring adequate supply of fuel during Christmas.
FRSC reviews first phase of special Christmas patrol, urges sustained obedience to traffic rules.
And correspondent evaluates gains of border closure in the petroleum sector.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured the government and people of Burkina Faso, who suffered a deadly terrorist attack that claimed the lives of 35 citizens, that Nigeria and the West African sub-region will not abandon them to their fate. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President said the slaying of 31 women among the innocent victims was cowardly and remains condemned by reasonable opinion all over the world. President Buhari also recalled his meeting last weekend with the country's president, Roch-Marc Christian Kabore, on the sidelines of the ECOWAS meeting, during which both leaders agreed to hold a summit in the new year to discuss the issues of security and the economy. And yesterday was observed as Boxing Day, a day declared public holiday by government for the continuation of Christmas celebrations. The day is meant to open boxes of gifts for distribution to the less privileged and the needy in line with the spirit of the season. But some people who do not receive such gifts celebrated it in different ways, while others do not even know the essence of the Boxing Day. Correspondent Olusheye Adiagbo finds out on this special report.
Well, boxing, you know, like this.
Yes, it is Boxing Day, and
Yes.
Awuyele Oluwaseun
day to
is
box.
expecting to see the exchange of blows. From all indications, the boxing gloves is still hanged up somewhere far away from this location. Now, what does Boxing Day mean to the door of Emmanuel Okabi and Favor Esi?
I don't know.
Well, I do not know much about Boxing Day, but in all, I just came here today to have fun.
Let's go back a bit to the history book. Every year, the 26th of December is observed the world over as the Boxing Day. Its origin is rooted in the British traditions, and in Ireland, the day is called St. Stephen's Day. History also has it that in the British Commonwealth, the servants of the Waldo families had to work on Christmas Day, and their services were usually rewarded with gift boxes that were only allowed to be opened the next day, which was an off work to spend time with their families. Here in Nigeria, the Boxing Day is usually a public holiday, and many, irrespective of the background, take advantage of the day to spend time with their loved ones. The resident imam of Nasfat Central Mosque Abuja, Ibrahim Akalambi, and chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria North Central, Israel Akombi, who both gave the Islamic and Christian perspective to Boxing Day, said the lessons of the season is of goodwill, fairness to all, and sustaining brotherly love.
Opening of gift itself is a task. Now the significance is just this: God so loved the world and He gave His Son to us, and we who have received this gift of God in His Son Jesus Christ are supposed to love God and love our neighbors.
Boxing Day does not mean only giving out this gift. It's telling us about the goodness, to be kind to the people.
They also admonished Nigerians to shun any act that can negate the peaceful coexistence while encouraging citizens to embrace the spirit of patriotism to achieve the growth and advancement they desire. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Thank you, Shay. And still on the season, the 26th of December of every year, which is referred to as Boxing Day, seems to have diverse meanings and interpretations across nations of the world. Many have maintained that the day is a special one and reserved for everyone who have received gifts during Christmas to unveil their gifts. Speaking on NTA's Current Affairs program, Nigeria Today, on the significance of Boxing Day, Pastor Kunle Paul Shoyele, Senior Pastor, Exousia Church of God, urged Nigerians to have the spirit of sharing gifts, especially to the less privileged during the Yuletide and beyond.
You can only give from what you have. You know, I would still take us back to the scripture. Jesus was talking about giving in the sanctuary. And the Bible said at a point he stood by the basket where people dropped their offerings and sacrifices. And he said everybody came and he gave, and there was a particular woman, a widow who had nothing much. And when he was going to, he said this widow gave the most because she gave out of what she had. Now, what am I trying to say here? You really don't need the whole world to give a good gift. You only need a heart of giving to give.
David Akoji of the National Orientation Agency stressed the need for more awareness among Nigerians on the essence of Boxing Day.
Of the fact that you would actually see people giving gifts, you know, boxed gifts. You would see people going out, visiting orphanages, visiting widows, you know, visiting their neighbors who are less privileged with gifts and so on. So I would not know whether it's the level of modernization or it's the economic realities on ground. We should revive that spirit of giving selfless.
Nigeria Today airs live every week at 7:30 in the evening. Still in the spirit of the Yuletide, the NTA Enugu Network Center organized a party for children tagged NTA 2019 Christmas Fun Fair.
It was a platform for children from different social and economic backgrounds to socialize and have fun with Chris Santa Claus at the NTA premises. Goodness Marcel reports.
The Utrosak Christmas Fun Fair was indeed fun-filled. It attracted children within and outside Enugu. The event featured presentation by children, including talent hunt, drama, lucky dip. The Zonal Director NTA Enugu Network Center, Chief Benny Modi, on behalf of the management and staff, welcomed the children and their parents. She advised parents to dedicate more of their time for the proper upbringing of their children.
I'm using this occasion to ask you to please spare some time for these children. When the parents, especially mothers, pay attention to these children at this age, the common saying is you catch them young. In this case, you teach them right.
The high point of the event was the cutting of the Christmas cake by the children born in the month of December. In Enugu, Goodness Marcel, NTA News.
In out to security, officers and airmen of the Nigerian Air Force have been commended for the significant progress made in 2019 in winning the war against terrorism.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, represented by the Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao, gave the commendation at a luncheon organized for airmen and women to commemorate this year's Christmas celebrations. Abubakar Mohammed Musa has more.
The luncheon, organized by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, is basically to ensure that troops on the front line are not left out of the Christmas celebration towards boosting their morale in defeating the remnants of Boko Haram insurgents. Delivering the Chief of Air Staff's message, Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao highlighted series of successes recorded by troops in the theater in the year under review and charged them to sustain aggressive operations for the restoration of complete normalcy to Borno and the Northeast region in general.
For the operations we are conducting now, we expect them to redouble their efforts so that we can bring this operation or the war to an end.
Air Task Force Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Air Commodore Precious Amadi, attributed the achievements recorded in the ongoing counterinsurgency operations to the overwhelming support being extended to soldiers by the Chief of Air Staff. He assured that troops will continue to adopt contemporary modus operandi in defending the territorial integrity of the country. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
In a related development, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has challenged troops of the Nigerian Air Force to exhibit more commitment and respect the rule of law while carrying out their duties. Abdul Malik Hassan reports that the Chief of Air Staff was speaking at the 2019 Christmas launch held in Katsina.
The 2019 Christmas launch is in accordance with the established tradition of different military operations across the country. It is meant to express appreciation of individual and collective sacrifice, enhance spirits of workforce, and encourage the soldiers to do more as they continue to protect the territorial borders of the country. Delivering his address, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, represented by Air Officer Commanding Special Operation Command Air Vice Marshal James Gwani, urged the troops to give enabling security environment for the ongoing peace negotiation in the Northwest to succeed.
Maintaining these levels of efficiency in combat service delivery while being away from your loved ones during festive seasons such as this clearly demonstrates your patriotic acts of placing service before self.
He commended the effort of state and federal government as well as security agencies and host communities in combating banditry and kidnappings among other heinous crimes. In his address, Air Component Commander, who also is the Deputy Force Operating Hadarin Daji, Air Commodore Ahmed Idris, said the Air Component and the 213 Forward Operating Base is up and doing to ensure peace is sustained in the state.
The Air Component has continued to conduct missions to deter and neutralize any criminal that has decided to disrupt the peace process.
There were cultural dance and other entertainment activities to add color to the event. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Now to road safety. As the first phase of the 2019 special end-of-the-year patrol ends, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyemi, has undertaken a critical review of the exercise with a call on the motoring public to sustain their obedience to traffic rules and regulations, saying so far the road has remained stable. The Corps Marshal also commended the personnel of the Corps across the country for demonstrating absolute commitment and professionalism in managing a massive traffic movement recorded before the Christmas celebration. In the press statement issued by the FRSC spokesperson, Corps Commander BC Kazim, the FRSC boss commended motorists for improved attitude to use of the road during the Christmas celebration and urged them to maintain the habit by showing greater concerns for other road users who must be given equal rights on the roads. He thanked security agencies for joining hands with the Corps in ensuring orderliness and security in challenging areas across the country. It would be recalled that the FRSC's special end-of-the-year patrol, codenamed Operation Zero Tolerance for Road Crashes, was formally launched early September to counter the perennial traffic crashes, congestion, injury and deaths that characterize the Yuletide. It covers the entire Ember months with massive deployments of personnel and logistics. The exercise is expected to last till 15th of January 2020.
You're still watching the news at 10 on the NTA network service, reaching you live from Abuja. Stay with us for more reports. We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to fuel distribution. The availability of premium motor spirit during the festive period across the country has continued to generate positive reactions from Nigeria. Nigerians. Abubakar Usman Akwanga sampled reports from various states.
For decades, long queues at fuel stations during Yuletide became part of life in Nigeria until the present administration tackled it head-on. For about 4 consecutive years now, the season comes and goes without people spending nights on queue at fuel stations. Reports from across the country show that Nigerians are enthused about the development. From Calabar, Maureen Liu Adjon reports that major independent oil marketers dispense PMS at the approved pump price of 145 naira per litre, a situation that brought succor to many Nigerians during the period.
We know that we have action president in this country. 2016 we have issue of petrol in Cross River State. But in 2019, in this December, he tried too much.
This is the first time in Nigeria now, since 1999, that we are having something like this.
With the closure of the borders, it makes it difficult for them to, leave some of the fuels outside, in the night.
Bashir Ibrahim Nabada from Dutse reports that the usual perennial scarcity associated with the product during Yuletide disappeared as major fuel stations within and outside the state capital made adequate arrangement for the product.
I can testify that there is change, most especially in this sector, because this is what I have seen to be real.
The story was